A prop plane carries excited skydivers 14,000 feet above English farm country. The experts jostle for their position to jump. But for this first-time skydiver and his instructor, this tandem jump will be very special. In fact, it will be considered 1 in a million, if they live through it. With over 5,000 skydives between them, good friends Mike Smith and Ronnie O'Brien have a long history of jumping together. On this day, Ronnie will use his specially designed helmet cam to tape Mike's jump with a first-time skydiver. Mike will initiate his new student using the tandem technique. In tandem skydiving, the novice skydiver is attached to an experienced teacher. Facing forward, the student is connected by buckles and straps to the front of the instructor. Ronnie and Mike, joined by their student, Richard Maynard, take off from a parachute center in Peterborough, England, 60 miles north of London.
Everything was absolutely normal as we went to the aircraft and climbed to altitude. There was nothing out of the ordinary at all.
Ronnie begins videotaping in the plane. Student Richard, in the red helmet, maneuvers to the door with Mike. With a final set go from Mike, the 3 men fall out into the sky. Ronnie's helmet cam records as Mike and Richard's drogue parachute is released as planned. This tiny chute is designed to slow the pair's freefall rate from 200 to 110 miles per hour. But Mike and Richard don't slow down. Instead, the pair are locked in a dangerous side spin. Ronnie suspects that there is a problem.
As the drogue parachute went out, I was 200 or 300 feet above and I could see that it was routing incorrectly and was actually coming up from somewhere around Mike's head.
Ronnie knows that by now the men should have deployed their main parachute. Something has definitely gone wrong. Ronnie decides to move in. As he approaches Mike and Richard, Ronnie sees the line of the drogue chute is actually wrapped around Mike's neck. Mike fights to stay conscious. His arms wave limply as the pair spins. Ronnie knows that since Richard is too inexperienced to pull the reserve, he must get close enough to the spinning pair to pull the chute himself.
And they were spinning quite quickly, so actually getting hold of them without being knocked out of the way was quite difficult.
Ronnie ignores the fact that by delaying the opening of his own chute, he is risking his life as well. Free-falling at almost 200 miles per hour, he lunges for the pair.
The reserve had to be pulled, and I had to do it, and it was it.
Gathering all his strength, Ronnie manages to steady the spinning duo. He reaches behind Richard and pulls the ripcord. The reserve chute is released. Out of harm's way, Ronnie releases his own chute and gives a holler of relief. As the tandem team floats to Earth, Mike finally regains consciousness. It is not until Ronnie and Mike are safely on the ground that they realize how miraculous the rescue was.
Everything was perfectly normal. We were the last to exit.
Mike says that during the drop all went well until the drogue was released. But instead of unfurling behind the pair, the lines instantly became tangled around his neck. Mike struggled to free the cord. He knew that another man's life was in his hands. It was only a matter of time before he lost consciousness.
Now, this has never happened before, so I knew that it was a bad situation.
Like all expert skydivers, Mike was carrying a knife for such an emergency.
I decided that I'd try and cut the drogue free, and I reached for the knife, and as I was trying to pull the knife out of my pocket, I just drifted off, and that was the last thing that I remember.
Mike blacked out. First-time skydiver Richard was now violently spinning toward Earth, strapped to an unconscious instructor. Amazingly, Richard was totally unaware of the danger.
I wasn't scared. I was just figuring, A, I've got to hold on to my breakfast, and B, if I clench my teeth, sooner or later, this will be over. I just need to get through it.
but Richard became alarmed when Ronnie suddenly lunged toward them.
Ronnie flew in and just completely smashed into us, and then came at us again. He came in, grabbed hold of us, and pulled the reserve. When the parachute opened, all the noise disappeared. It's absolutely quiet, and we carried on floating down.
Richard has chosen not to skydive anymore, but he will never forget what Ronnie did that day to save his life.
Ronnie is an extraordinary man. It's easy to be brave, I think, when you don't have a choice. But he had a choice. He didn't have to risk his life to save mine. And I think that takes a very special kind of man to do that.
Since the incident at Peterborough, experts have developed an automatic activation device that is required for all tandem jumps. If a tandem pair falls to 3,000 feet without pulling their chute, the device will automatically attempt to release it for them. For saving the lives of his skydiving friends, Ronnie O'Brien was awarded the coveted Medal of Gallantry from Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II. Ronnie and Mike are still good friends and avid jumpers.
It was just something that happened, something which had never happened before and has never happened subsequently. It was an absolute chance in a million.
A life-threatening event that will hopefully never happen again.